Welcome. You're listening to the I'm Wired to Inspire podcast, creatively engineered by Nicole, the inspiration specialist. I'm Wired to Inspire is a powerfully packed 5-minute podcast filled with inspiration and encouragement to get you through your day. It's designed to inspire you to live your authentic purpose. Now stay tuned for your host, Nicole, the inspiration specialist, on today's episode of I'm Wired to Inspire.
Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today on my podcast. We are chopping it up today, and I hope you guys are just doing great. It's been a very interesting time, guys. If you've been following me at all, I've been telling you about the declarations, y'all. I have been getting phone calls, texts. It is just off the chain that people are really seeing God's goodness. And what I love is that it's free. It's decreeing and declaring a thing. It is writing the vision, making it plain. It is showing God that you are trying him at his word. This is not no foolery. This is not, wizardry or no kind of magic tricks. It's literally applying the word of God to your life. So if you have not yet, make sure you hit the link beneath this episode and go to I'mWiredToInspire.com. Check out the podcast, and there'll be 2 episodes within the last week. One says 7-day declarations. The second one says 7-day declarations follow-up. I did a live the other day. It was awesome. I made a mistake and hit the X instead of hitting save, so I didn't have that one either. I guess God didn't want me to keep them, so I don't have any of the lives that I did in the last couple weeks, but I've been asked to do another live. So whenever God leads me to pop up and do it, I will do it. So just stay tuned. Make sure you follow my pages, though, so you'll know when I pop up on the lives. I won't, get on the podcast and say, hey, there's a live coming. Whenever God tells me to do it, I'll do it. So make sure you follow at robinicolek, one word, one N, or I'm Wired to Inspire on Instagram. I'm heavily on IG. I'm on Twitter sometimes, but for the most part, I am an IG girl. So that's where you'll be able to find access, and you'll be able to catch them as soon as they come in. And I'm not really the one that, I don't really hang on a lot. Like, for people to come on, I probably should do that. But I'm usually trying to get in and out. You know what I'm saying? So forgive me for that. I'm going to try to give a little hang time next time. You know what I'm saying? Just give a little bit longer hang time so people can kind of, check in or whatever. But with all of that being said, y'all, I have something very powerful to talk to you about today. And I'm excited because, y'all, this is my Chop It Up Thursdays, but today is prophetic. So I'm super excited about that. Y'all know I normally do just a regular little pop-up, prophetic podcast. But today, the actual episode, as God was giving it to me and downloading it, it is absolutely prophetic. And stay tuned because we are entering into a new season. Not everybody, but for those of you who have been praying certain prayers, and what I say is just going to be confirmation, and you're going to know that this is the new season that you're going into. Okay. So the first 2 things I want to address was the other day when I was actually on the second live, God had me talk about something that I posted on my Facebook page some years ago, and it came up in my Facebook memory. And I don't know why, but I never posted it on my IG. I do my hashtag. Check out the hashtag Old Tea Still Sweet. That's my hashtag. And that's where I do all of my old Facebook memories when they pop up, today, and they actually apply. I always repost them with that hashtag. So this one was talking about, you guys know the scripture, iron sharpens iron, right? And I loosely mentioned this in the live where iron does sharpen iron. But in this season, you need to be careful. You know the difference between somebody sharpening you and somebody cutting you. Okay? You have to know the difference between the two. The season that's about to come into play that I'm going to tell you in a second, because there's 3 things I'm going to address. The third thing is going to be, I'm going to reveal what the season is that God gave me. But you're going to have to be at a place in your journey and your walk where you really, really trust God. And you have to be able to let go of certain people and certain things that are counterproductive to God's will for your life, God's perfect will for your life. I can be transparent and tell you I'm going through something right now. I've been praying about a situation. I've been asking God to give me revelation. Well, actually 2 situations, quite honestly, in 2 different areas of my life. And unfortunately, what God is revealing to me, it's not, I didn't expect that, and I don't like it, but God is just going to have to remove this situation and remove these people. And it's not something, I'm just totally not feeling it. But y'all, the thing you have to understand is, you know, when God is really trying to move in us and he's really trying to give us the absolute best, there are going to be people, places, things, situations, opportunities that God is going to remove us from. He's not even going to allow us to feel like we need those people or we need those things anymore, because Matthew 6:33 is going to be in full effect, because we're seeking his kingdom first and all his righteousness. See, let me help you out right there. It's not just seeking the kingdom. It's not just like, oh God, I see you. I'm hollering at you every day. I'm praying every day. But it's doing the righteous part of it. You see, when you get to the righteous part of that scripture, he's going to show you those people who are not righteous concerning him that you're trying to connect yourself to. And so with that, he's going to make you have different observations. He's going to see how people are moving. He's going to see how situations are not what you thought they were. He's going to show you people's true character. Unfortunately, these can be people that you are very nice to consistently, always checking up on them, always looking out for them. They don't do that for you. And I've been noticing that, like, you know, even something simple. I'm not really super petty about like social media stuff. That's not really my thing. Some things do tick me off sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But I mean, these people don't post you. They don't say anything. They don't share. If you're not shiny and popping, they'll skip over you for someone else. Other situations where, you know, you've even discussed how you're supposed to do things together and they just say no, they'll just opt out and do something else. So what God is doing right now, he's showing you people who present themselves as sharpening, but they are really cutting you. So I want you to pay close attention to that. Now, here's the good news on that word. It's okay. Because it's not necessarily a bad thing where God is saying, you know, cut them off. They terrible. They cutting you. No, sometimes God will allow them to cut you. And when you bleed, it's so God can show you, I'm not going to leave you bleeding. Sometimes God will allow people to do things and cause pain because he wants to remind you that he is a healer. So all things work together for the good, not just the bad things. But for those of you who love the Lord, it's going to still work out for you according to his purpose. So that's the first word I want you to hold on to. Sharpening versus cutting. Figure out what that is, or not figure out, but allow God to reveal it to you. And then you'll work that out with him. He'll give you a strategic plan. He'll help you map out how you remove yourself from that situation. Or if you do not remove yourself, how you begin to navigate in it with the knowledge of who they are and what they are doing in this hour. It's going to be different for different people. Okay. So that's number one. The second part of this message today, I saw this last week. And I think I actually posted it, but the Lord kept putting it on my spirit. He said, Robin, this is just a lot deeper than a post, and I need you to talk about it. And it says, your strongest belief will determine your reality. Some of you are not in your reality because your strongest belief is not conducive with what that is. Your strongest belief rather is not on one accord with what that is. Okay? So you have to pay attention to what you're believing. So here is the call to action with that, because the Lord did give me some prophetic call to action. If this is something that you're questioning, if you're like, oh my God, I've been praying for years, it's not happening, what's going on? It's two things I need to tell you. Some of you are obsessing about it and holding on too tight to it. So that's why it's not happening. It's not that you're not faithful. It's not that you're not persistent or consistent, but you're doing too much concerning it. The Lord wants you to know when you let it go, you will receive it. And we all know the hardest part is the letting go. So the Lord may allow things to come up. He may allow the person or the situation to seem dry, not want to, it just doesn't, there's no engagement. The Lord you're just calling out to the Lord, like, what is happening? I want this so badly, or I thought you said this was mine. All of these things. And still you see nothing. Your strongest belief is your current reality. So if you don't have them or have it or have that scenario or opportunity situation, perhaps it's because there is something in you that is thinking that you're not going to have it anyway. So that's the first part of that. The second part of that is simply, some of you are relying too much on confirmations, and you're looking for something to constantly fill you up with it. And it's going to elude you like that too. Because I'm going to tell you, God is trying to do it without all the confirmations, because he's trying to build your faith. You know what I mean? He's showing you, I will always do that for you, because I said that I will do that for you. Okay? Like if the Lord wants to show you something and confirm something to you, I always tell y'all about John 16:13. He'll give it to you in spirit and in truth. But there will come a time in your walk with Christ when he's trying to pull you to a place where, if you get no confirmation, if you are in the pit, or if you are in the prison like Joseph was, and he had no confirmation, he had nothing to hold on to. When he told the man, he interpreted the dream, he said, hey man, don't forget about me. And the man actually forgot about him. There was nothing going on in the cell to give him confirmation, to let him know that the man was going to come back. At that point, Joseph just charged it to the game. Okay, so God could be doing that for you right now, and that can be the cause of delay, because you are relying too much on confirmation. Every 5 minutes, you're tagging somebody on the post. Every 5 minutes, you're texting somebody. You obsessed about the situation. Oh, he gonna come around. He gonna leave her alone. I'm gonna get the promotion. I know they told such and such they was gonna give it to him, but I'm gonna do it. I know that I said that I was going to do this way, but I'm going to just wait, because I know if I do it this way, God is going to do it. It's like you're just cooking up all of these different scenarios, because you just believe that if you keep holding on to it, and if you keep saying, okay, God, show me this and that. Yeah, I'm going to just stay right here, because I know if I wait until about 5 o'clock, God going to give me that confirmation. If I see it today, then I know it's God. Man, that license plate had that number. Oh, I keep seeing 7s. I keep seeing 3s. I keep seeing 55s, whatever it is. It's not that stuff is not necessarily valid, but it comes to a point where you could subconsciously rely so much on the confirmations that you completely begin to miss God. And I'm going to tell you something. When you are in a place of getting God's perfect will for your life, there may be a time where it is just quiet and you don't hear anything. And that is where the rubber meets the road, because then you have to figure out if you are truly trusting God because you love him, or if you are trying to trust God because you want something from him. This is why it's paramount, and it is absolutely mandatory that when you are seeking the kingdom of God, and when you are seeking his righteousness, and when you are truly seeking your happiness in him, in order for you to get the desires of your heart, you have to truly seek your happiness in him, not necessarily seeking what you want from him. God is not Santa Claus. He's not a genie in a bottle. So you have to be okay with that. So with that takes us to the last part of this prophetic message today. And guys, it is this. We are going into scale falling season. Scale falling season. The last season that I told you guys about, I've been telling you about since I think September, October 2017 was underdog season. We are still in underdog season. And I'm going to tell y'all, underdog season is going to be going on for quite a while. Underdog season is not about to end anytime soon. When he gave it to me, he told me this was going to be a pretty long season. So don't be surprised if 10 more times this year, I'll go ahead and repost the underdog season word, and I'm going to do it every time he tells me to. Because that's absolutely what's happening in this hour. God is consistently blessing and showing up for the underdogs, the people who have been down and out for years. He is changing the game with that. Okay, so let's get into this scale falling season. So if you are familiar with the story of Paul, well, he was Saul on the road to Damascus, and then he became Paul after he had the encounter with Jesus, and he was blinded for 3 days. And I forget who it was that came. God tugged on someone. I forget who it was, but they had to come and they had to give him his sight again. So I think he touched his eyes or prayed for him, but then whatever it was, he ended up getting his sight again. When he was in that time, it was mentioned that he had scales on his eyes, right? He had scales on his eyes. So there are many of you who have been praying for people to have a Paul on the road to Damascus experience. There are some of you who you've been praying for someone who you feel they've been running from their calling. You have been praying that they just get out of the world. Some of y'all been praying for people to stop smoking, drinking, cutting up, carrying on, just not doing the things of God. But they probably called to be a pastor, or they called to do something in the ministry or in the faith, or they're called to be a business person, but they might be doing something illegal. It's like there's some of you listening, and this is a consistent prayer you've been praying. And I'm going to tell you, thank you, Holy Spirit. Some of y'all been praying this for yourself, because in the front of the world, you are giving off the appearance of being cool and doing worldly things. But you and I both know when the world is not looking, you are struggling, because you know that you are trying to grab something. You are trying to attain some type of success, but you're seeking God about it. But there is a disconnect between you trusting God and you putting yourself out there in a godly way. It's almost like you think if you show them who God is, you're going to lose followers, or people are not going to want to be bothered, because your vision of who can put you on and your vision of what it should look like should go a certain way. Well, let me tell you something. That's just not how God works. So what I urge you to take this time right now and just know that the Lord is speaking, and this is scale falling season. So the scales are going to begin to fall. And when the scales fell off of his eyes, he changed his life. He wrote most of the New Testament. This was somebody who was killing Christians. This was somebody who was not about that life. And he totally turned his life around. So you're no different. You can totally turn your life around, and it could be for the glory of God. And it can be something that's when you will see the overflow of success. That's when the check's going to be flying in. That's when everything is going to start to come together, because God does not want you to be poor and broke. He does not want you to be gallivanting the streets and hanging out with the world. He wants you to understand that he'll use you in the world, but for his glory and for his good. He's not going to do it the way you want. For some people, you see it, and that's fine, because you are not them to God. God is no respecter of persons, but he has a very specific plan for each of us. Very specific plan. So with that being said, the plan that he has for you, he don't want you to do that. That's not a road he wants you to tread. He wants you to go another way. So you have to be honest about telling God what your real heart is. And if you're really serious, you say, Lord, if I have any scales over my eyes or on my eyes, please remove them, because I no longer want to be outside of your will. I want to be the person that you have called me to be. This could be a man or a woman, whoever is listening. The Lord is acknowledging that he sees that you're struggling when no one else is looking, and he wants to free you from that struggle. Now, the other part of this message is this. The scales are going to fall for some of you, because you're going to start to find out people's true intentions. But let me tell you what's wonderful about that. I'm not talking about the negative intentions. The only thing negative we had to deal with today was sharpening and cutting. But on this level, for this part, this is a beautiful, beautiful time, because God is allowing people to come into the revelation in this season of people who have been having good intentions concerning them, and you had no idea. So the final part of this word is to be prepared and be ready to be pleasantly surprised. I'm smiling saying it, y'all. It's such a sweet feeling. Be pleasantly surprised, because the Lord is going to start showing you people's real intentions. And it's intentions of loving kindness, care. They really believe in you. And I'm going to tell y'all, some people are just going to start telling you, and there are going to be some people you've kind of written off because you felt like they should have been supporting you. They should have been doing things for you. But when the Lord shows you what's going on and the scales fall, and you're going to see it for what it is, they're going to be able to let you know what's been going on and why they haven't been active, and why you thought it was one way, but it wasn't. And the Lord is going to give you proof. He's going to give you evidence, and you're going to know that those people are genuine. So get ready for that. I think that's a wonderful thing. So remember what we talked about today, the prophetic word that the Lord is giving me to go forth right now. And it is simply that you have to know the difference between somebody sharpening you and cutting you, and that there's value in both. The second thing is, whatever your greatest belief is, if you truly believe in the Father for his perfect will for your life, then that is what your life is going to be at this point. So you just have to figure out what that means for you. And lastly, it is scale falling season. For those of you who have been struggling like Paul on the road to Damascus, the Lord is going to remove the scales, and you're going to walk into the life, into the call that he has for your life. Then on the flip, some of you, the scales are going to fall, and God is going to reveal to you people who've been holding you down, having your back, and you had no idea. So I hope this word bless you guys today. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. And remember, I'm wired to inspire. I hope you are too.
Thanks for listening to I'm Wired to Inspire podcast at I'mWiredToInspire.com. If you enjoyed the show, spread the word and be sure to hit the 5-star rating on iTunes. For more information on this podcast and inspirational products and services, log on to the inspirationspecialist.life or I'mWiredToInspire.com. And remember to live your authentic purpose. Thanks again, and see you next time.